What's up, guys? It's Willis here from the Adventures of Willis and Clark, and the Destiny 2 showcase just finished. There was a lot of information that was given out to unpack. It was about 45 minutes long. I'm not going to be doing a play-by-play here for what was shown. I just wanted to sort of give my thoughts on it. The showcase was okay. Overall, it was okay. I am hopeful for the state of Destiny at this point, but at the same time, I also got the feeling that this was recorded like a month ago, or at the beginning of the month before the controversy and everything really happened. There was not much said about PvP. It's like we're getting one new map. I guess it looks kind of cool. We'll see how it actually plays, and a new game mode that is based around relics, which sounds like it could be super gimmicky. I'm not overly enthusiastic about that. The main focus here was definitely on the narrative for the story, which I feel that that's where the focus really should be at this point, because we're at the end of the Light and Darkness saga, but it's important to support the other modes as well. Like, there was nothing said at all about Gambit. I am cautiously optimistic about the story. The last time that they really focused on the narrative was with Witch Queen, I think, and we got a totally awesome story for that expansion. However, the quality of the story that we have for Lightfall and the way that things are in the game right now definitely is bad, and I didn't see too much given out for the narrative and for what they talked about that has me thinking, oh, this is going to be exponentially better to get us back up to where we were before. When they talked about how the only reason we were brought back is because we're the only ones who can save the universe from the Witness and stop him from, like, pulling things apart and reshaping them back together. Yeah, that's literally the plot of the first Lego movie. I mean, it works for a kid's movie or a Saturday morning cartoon, but it's like the most cliched thing that you can do. So I was not too enthusiastic to see that. The art team, once again, totally shines. The world that we're going to be going into is actually inside the Traveler, so we now know that from all the promo material that they've been doing over the past month or so, that's where that is. That's the inside of the Traveler, and it looks like we're inside an Escher painting for a lot of it, and I think that just looks totally cool. Like, the visual design that was shown off just looks phenomenal. So mad props to the art team. Once again, you guys are definitely the star of the show. I did like what I saw there. The weapon that we get for pre-ordering is like a pyramid weapon. I wasn't blown away by it. I am not super enthusiastic about it. I guess I would have to see how it plays and how it is actually in the game, but it doesn't scream, go out and buy me right now to have this super cool gun. I think one of the other problems that the game has is that there's so many exotics in the game at this point that it's like, oh, here's another one for the pile. I'm sure that it will be overpowered, get the pre-orders in, and then they'll nerf it or do something to it to bring it more in line when the expansion launches, like what they did for Quicksilver Storm with Lightfall. So yeah, I guess I have to see how that actually plays, but initial impressions, I wasn't blown away. It looks like a cool gun, but it doesn't look like something that's like, oh, I've got to have that. The weapon subfamilies that they showed off, I think, also looked really cool, but I'm kind of, I don't know, cautious with how I feel for those. Like the rocket pistol that they showed off definitely looked like it could be a lot of fun and that they could be very overpowered. The auto rifle that you can use to heal your teammates definitely looks like it could be good. However, they tried to do that once before with an exotic. I think it was Lumina, and it didn't really pan out so well. I'm also a little worried about how that's going to affect the meta. One of the things I like about D2 is that you don't really have dedicated tanks, healers, and DPS. And with these sub-archetypes that they're adding in, I'm a little cautious in wondering if that's going to be a thing that will be possible now for how it's going to affect loadouts. But we'll have to see, because I also think that it's going to be like a fine line. Like, if the rockets shoot too slow or something with the rocket pistol, or they don't have the range and it doesn't perform like you think it's going to, then they're going to kind of be dead in the water. So it's a fine line. They also talked about the new season that's starting today, Season of the Witch. It looks interesting, but it doesn't really look like it's anything all that different from what we've currently had. I think the best thing about it is the deck building. I wish that that was something that was coming to the game that was a permanent feature. To have something like that would really help boost character creation in the game. As well as character building, as opposed to it being just something that we're going to be grinding out over the course of a season, and then when Final Shape comes out, it's gone. So I'm at least willing to try it. I'm a little, I guess, cautiously optimistic about the season because I do like the Hive. I think that Bungie does cosmic horror really good. Whenever they go and they do something along those lines, it's usually when they're at their best. So I will try it, but I was also wondering why they showed off the 3-man activity and not the new 6-man activity. So I guess we'll have to see on that. It's not anything that blew me away. It's not anything that had me saying, oh, it's bad. It just was sort of mid, I guess. And they talked about how they're not going to be doing seasons starting with Final Shape, where we're going to be getting these echo things. We get 3 updates a year as opposed to the 4, I believe we get now, but they're supposed to be more substantial, and they're, like, I guess, self-contained stories. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm not super optimistic about those because I like stories that are interconnected. The interconnectivity of the stories is what I think makes them more interesting, as opposed to it being like this episode that's over here and it's that thing, and then this happened over here and it's that thing, and it just, when you have self-contained stuff like that, it feels more like filler, and it's just not as good. Kind of like what's happened with the MCU post Endgame. But we'll see what they're going to do, and I'm happy that it seems like they're listening. They do have a thing where they're going to be bringing back missions from previous expansions that have been sunset. Like, you're going to be able to play through the mission where Cade dies from Forsaken, which was the opening mission of that expansion. I think that that's really good because that's something that has needed to be in the game for a long time. People coming in are just like, completely lost at this point with the story and where it's at, and I'm happy to see that. They did talk about more accessibility. I don't know how I feel about it. They are going to be doing more activities that are locked at a power level, so it won't matter what your power level is when you go and you do them. This is something that they started with Lightfall, and I honestly feel that the locked power activities are the worst activities that they did in Lightfall. Like, this is a power fantasy game. The point of it is to grind power, to get power. That is the fantasy. It's the reason you keep coming back every week. And when you don't have those pinnacles to grind, like in Season of the Deep, they didn't raise the pinnacle cap, so there's been no pinnacles to grind. It just kills all motivation to play. Like, I felt nothing to go in and log in for this season, really, beyond like, oh, go and do the story, and like, that's it. So we'll see. I mean, if the activities are fun and they're tuned right, it could be a good thing. If they're not tuned right and they're too difficult, or if they're too easy, then it's going to be a bad thing. I do think that the fire team power thing is a good thing that they're rolling out to make it so that more people can come in, but they have done stuff like that in the past with other activities. I think they did it in the campaign. We'll see how it works, because there's bigger issues with the underlying systems in the game than just power level. Like, there's differences in quality of tier gear. Someone who's not using an exotic is always going to be underperforming compared to somebody who does. Somebody who has blues is going to be underperforming compared to somebody who has purples, because purples have more stats. So just raising the power up in that way is not necessarily going to be solving these issues, but I do think that it's good that they do have that in there. One of the things that they did mention about for Final Shape that I am interested in is they said that the world inside the Traveler is going to change based off of our actions. So I'm wondering if this has got like a random generator element to it. Like, maybe we have a campaign that we play through, like what they did in Halo, and then at the end of it, the game opens up like they said it was going to, and then we can see the effects of it. So if we go to an area, it will change and it will be different. Or if it's going to be another world that is broken up into like 3 or 4 segmented areas. If that's the case, I don't think it'll be as interesting. But we'll see. It definitely looks like it's trippy, and it looks cool. I'm happy to have Cade back, and I hope that they can pull it off for Destiny, for the community, for all of us who have stuck with them for so long. And so overall, mid, I guess, is what I would say for the showcase. I wouldn't say it was bad. I wouldn't say it was good. I'm cautiously optimistic for the future. And that's where I stand. So, love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there something that I didn't mention that you thought was awesome that stood out to you? Let me know. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, smash the like button and all that. It helps out the channel. See you guys on the next one.